No matter how Ellie shouted, they remained indifferent. Her mother-in-law even changed the entry code. In the end, she even threw salt in Ellie's face and drove away her pregnant daughter-in-law like she was a plague. She even threw her luggage out. No matter how Ellie begged, they remained indifferent. Ellie just wanted to confirm whether Guda had married someone else, and when she got a positive answer, she couldn't believe it. Her mother-in-law was even more convinced that Ellie was with another man, so she was thrown out of the door. But she still begged her mother-in-law to let her in. When her mother arrived, she was heartbroken. Ellie begged her to let her see her husband. Seeing her daughter's bare feet, the mother quickly took off her shoes and let her go home with her. But Ellie refused to go back. No matter what her mother said, she had to see her husband. She didn't want her child to be born without a father. The helpless mother and daughter could only cry continuously. Guda was enjoying the happiness of being newlywed. He completely forgot about the pregnant Ellie. Ellie and her mother rushed over to visit Enzu, saying that they would find a way to get her out. But Enzu said that it didn't matter if she got out. What was important was to make Guda pay. Ellie, who didn't want to give up, went to her in-laws' house again. She begged her mother-in-law to open the door for her, but her mother-in-law pretended not to hear her and kept eating. Her uncle, who couldn't bear to see her suffer, went out to open the door for her. But before Ellie could go in, Lucy came running out to stop her. She said that there was no way she would let her set foot in the house. Her mother-in-law also came out to stop her. Ellie said that she didn't have any other man and hoped that her mother-in-law wouldn't misunderstand her. But her mother-in-law took her by the hand and started to walk her out. She simply threw Ellie back to her parents' house. Her mother asked her what it meant. When her sister-in-law saw what was going on, she tried to fight with her mother-in-law. The mother-in-law admitted that her son had married while they were away on holiday. Her mother couldn't believe it. The mother-in-law said that Ellie had cheated on her son first. Then she took out a stack of photos from her pocket and threw them on the floor. Ellie explained that she had never done anything to hurt her in-laws. The mother-in-law pulled her and demanded that she tell the truth. Who is this man? Her mother told her not to do that. Ellie was pregnant with your family's child, but the mother-in-law said that no one knew who the father was. On hearing this, Ellie's mother slapped her directly in the face. The furious mother-in-law said, "How dare you hit me? Your eldest daughter is getting a divorce, and your youngest daughter is waiting to go to prison and never come back." After saying this, she angrily left. Ellie's mother quickly chased after her and knelt in front of her mother-in-law. Her mother begged her to spare her daughter. Ellie also begged her mother-in-law to spare her younger sister, but the mother-in-law simply ignored her and turned around and walked away. Undaunted, Ellie wanted to confirm with her husband in person and ask him if he had really married another woman. Ellie asked him, "What about the baby I'm carrying?" Unexpectedly, Guda said directly, "Who knows whose child it is?" After saying this, he directly shook off Ellie's hand. Ellie only hoped that he would let her younger sister go, but the ruthless Guda wanted this effect. He absolutely could not let the former Enzo come out and make trouble. Ellie could hardly believe that the man in front of her was so ruthless. She told her sister to eat something no matter what. Enzo told her sister not to cry and not to beg that man because of her. She must make them pay. Ellie went to Guda's company to find out who her husband married, but before she could ask, Eula came over. She thought Ellie was upset about what happened at the supermarket. This scene happened to be seen by Guda. Just as Ellie was about to ask about Guda's phone rang. He told Ellie to stop asking questions and go outside to talk. When he saw Ellie leave, he let out a sigh of relief. Guda said he would let your sister go, but only if you sign a contract promising not to tell anyone about our past. He would take the contract to a notary for legalization, in order to get her sister released. Ellie had no choice but to agree to this unreasonable request. Her sister learned from a friend who the woman married to Guda was. When she heard this, Ellie couldn't believe it. At that moment, she happened to see Eula come to pick up Guda. It turned out that the woman he married was. Eula came to visit her mother-in-law with a bunch of gifts. Seeing the designer bag, her sister couldn't stop smiling. Eula wanted to have lunch here before leaving. She said she really liked the lunchbox her mother-in-law had sent before. Hearing this, her mother-in-law was a little worried. Lucy took her sister-in-law into the room to chat. Her mother-in-law and son were plotting again. At that moment, she received a call from Ellie's mother, and heard Ellie's mother say she was on her way to the house. The mother-in-law nearly had a heart attack. She told her son to quickly find a way to take Eula away. Eula, who looked confused, was taken away like this. She wondered why her mother-in-law had suddenly acted like this. Guda said that her mother was unwell. The mother-in-law and daughter frantically packed a table full of gifts, but before they could finish packing, Ellie's mother walked in. She took out her life savings, hoping that her mother-in-law would reconcile with her younger daughter, and hoped that her son-in-law would return to her daughter's side. Her mother-in-law was so angry at her stupidity that she almost fainted. Ellie's mother even said that as long as her son-in-law changed his mind, she could forget everything in the past. But her mother-in-law told Ellie's mother that my son and your daughter have already reached an agreement. As long as you let go of your younger daughter, they will never mention their past. Her mother-in-law told Ellie's mother to take the money and get out. Unwilling to accept this, Ellie decided to go to the company again to find Eula. But just as Ellie was about to ask, Junu happened to walk in. He thought that Eula had not yet sold the incident and was giving